People have been telling stories since the beginning of time. We tell stories to give information, to teach lessons, to share our beliefs and to entertain. With our children, we want to do all of these things. Here are a few tips to keep in mind when sharing the 17 stories. First, know the end of the story from the beginning. So what do you want the children to understand from this story? What do you want them to remember? Focus how you should tell the story and emphasize this point. Suggested themes have been included in your teacher's manual that may be helpful. Also, tell your story in sequence. Every story has a beginning, middle, and end. By telling the story in order, it will help you remember the story and your listeners to follow along. Develop the scene and characters. This can be one of the most fun parts of storytelling and where your story really comes alive. Use your words to form pictures in the children's minds. What did the environment look like? Were there smells or sounds? You can use gestures to show the size and the character's actions. You can even change your voice and physicality to describe the characters and mood of the scene. A storyteller can share all these things and bring the story to life. Lastly, consider your audience. This is especially important when sharing stories with children. How long can they pay attention? Can they understand the words that I am using? Is the subject appropriate and relevant to them? And can they become a part of this story? Interactive storytelling is a great way to teach. We can ask questions, use children as characters, or in setting the scene. The more involved children are in telling the story, the more likely they are to remember it. Let's see some examples of the same story being told in 3 different ways. Corporate participation is a great method for storytelling. Before the lesson, choose about 3 recurring key words from the story. Create an action for each word. The actions should be simple that everyone can do. Before the telling of the story, show children the actions for the words. Remember, the more dramatic the expression, the more they will remember. Here the children are acting surprised when Jesus' tomb is found empty. Then they are pretending to run each time the characters run. Near the end of the story, when Jesus asks a question, the children also pretend to be asking the question. These actions are powerful because they help students actively listen and give them cues to remember the story later. Dramatization is a very interactive technique for storytelling. Tell the story through at least once, so everyone is familiar with the story and the different characters that are involved. Then, reenact the story by assigning different parts to different children. You can designate who is which character with simple props or costume pieces. Give each character direction, such as where they should stand, an action they should make, or a line that they should say. By immersing the children in the story through dramatization, they will make strong connections to that story that will last forever in their memory. Involving each of the 5 senses in telling the story is a fun way that everyone can participate. By simply telling the story, our sense of hearing is engaged. By showing the picture, we use our sense of sight. Objects can be passed around to involve the other senses. Here, the children feel a rock like the rock that was moved from Jesus' tomb. Here, they smell a scented cloth that reminds them of the cloth that wrapped Jesus' body and the oils that the woman brought to treat the body. Through involving the senses in telling the story, it becomes more real and will make a lasting impact on the children's memory.